Welcome to That Entrepreneur Life, a podcast about entrepreneurship that takes you from idea to launch and beyond. Each week, your hosts, Andrew Lees and Clint McPherson, discuss different business topics aimed at adding value to any entrepreneur's journey.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of That Entrepreneur Life. I'm Andrew Lees. I'm here with my co-host, Clint McPherson. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Not much, man. I'm excited to be here like always, but let's not waste any more time, and let's go ahead and kick this thing off by welcoming our special guest today, David Meltzer, to the show. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me. And really, any platform like yours is a great platform to teach people how to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun, which is my definition of that entrepreneur's life.
I love
Couldn't
it.
agree more. Yep.
And I really think, David, like Andrew said offline, it's an honor to have you on the show today. But you're now a best-selling author, right? You're a humanitarian and top 100 business coach. You have one of the top entrepreneur podcasts, which is all incredible. So, but can you take us back to when your entrepreneurial journey actually started and what it is specifically about entrepreneurship that really gets you fired up every day?
You know, it's my relationship with money. So my relationship with money started when I was 5 years old. My dad left. So I had a single mom, 6 kids, and my mom gave me the first lessons of entrepreneurship. Even though she was a second grade teacher, she had to pack our dinners in a paper bag and fill up turnstiles with greeting cards at convenience stores just so we could eat. I learned a lot of lessons about, the desire that I had, that I must be what I can be. And what I really wanted to be was someone that could provide to his mom, right? I wanted to buy a house and a car for my mom. So my entrepreneurial journey started with my relationship with money, that it was going to buy me the ultimate happiness, the ultimate love from my mother, even though I had so much happiness growing up because I had such an extraordinary family with great siblings and a great mom, even though we had no money. So that relationship carried on until after law school, when I was a multi-millionaire, 9 months out of law school, became a millionaire, into my 20s, a multi-millionaire. And the advantage of that perspective of wanting to make a lot of money and that money would buy me love and happiness is that you kept your options open. So even through high school and college and law school, I consistently kept my options open of what paid the most money because I wanted the money because that was the ends for everything. But of course, as life loves to teach you lessons, and the lessons will keep on coming. It will result in pain to indicate that you have lessons to learn. I had a lot to learn about that relationship, money, as it evolved. And, initially reaffirming that it buys love and happiness. I did buy my mom the house and the car 9 months out of law school. But I had a lot of lessons to learn about money from the time I was 24 years old and a millionaire to today when I'm 53 years old.
For sure.
Yeah, that's quite a journey. I can definitely relate to wanting to help your family and wanting to just, I always had what I needed growing up for sure. But at the same time, I always wanted to get to that next level. I always wanted to be able to help people out and the people out around me to help them, especially my mom, so that we never had to worry about money. And it's really, even though there can be a lot of love, there can be, there's depending on how you grow up. Some people have a lot, they have a lot of money as they're growing up, and that might not be a focus for them. But for a lot of people, it is. They really want to figure out how to make a lot of money. But once you realize that it's not just about that, it's really about the freedom. It's about, having financial security and helping people around you, and ultimately helping people in order to get the money. That's where I think it comes from. So, I think that's a really interesting background.
There's a paradigm shift that you just talked about that happened to me. And it was, my idea that money buys love and happiness, and that the more I give, the more I would get. And so, although my relationship with money was a little bit skewed because I thought, and it reaffirmed, I ended up my first company, we exited for $3.4 billion. I raised hundreds of millions in the Silicon Valley when I was 20, mid 20s, and then ended up CEO of the world's first smartphone with Samsung. throughout that journey, it reaffirmed money buys love and happiness. And I was extremely philanthropic. I gave my money, but it was always with conditions. Even when I bought my mom a house or a car, I wanted her to acknowledge I was her favorite son. I wanted recognition. I wanted, everything was a trade, a negotiation for my giving. And until I realized, I ran the most notable sports agency in the world, a place called Lee Steinberg Sports and Entertainment. Lee, they made the movie Jerry Maguire about. Until I ran that firm and I had access to everything that I wanted, I was a multimillionaire, did I realize that paradigm shift, it wasn't a matter of the more I give, the more I receive. It was with the right intention, meaning if you shop for the right things with your money, money can buy you happiness. If you shop for the wrong things and you're a victim and things happen to you, you'll never be happy. Even in the world I lived in, which I call the for me world, where I bought things I didn't need to impress people I didn't like, that world was very empty and lonely as well. And even though I was giving to receive, I shifted the paradigm as I ran the most notable sports agency to I'm intentional about my giving, meaning the more I receive, the more I can give. And everything comes through me, not for me, not to me, but through me for others. And when I made that shift, it was an incredible experience and has changed my life over the last 15, now 16 years, taking me from bankruptcy, losing over $100 million back into the realm of making more money, helping more people, and having more fun in my life, being more fulfilled, passionate, purposeful, and profitable in everything that I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you definitely touched on this as you just went through that. But a lot of entrepreneurs talk about, if I had to start over, I do X, Y, and Z. They have this thing that they do to get back. But you really did have to start over, becoming, like you said, becoming a multimillionaire in your 20s and 30s, and then going bankrupt. What did you learn about that experience that's led you to be more successful than ever now? And more importantly, that's allowed you to maintain and build on that success?
Well, I built my life on 4 values. Gratitude, which gave me perspective. It's a superpower. It's a muscle that allows you to find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything you do. It allows you to see pain not as a stop sign or a mountain in front of you, but just simply as a turn signal indicating you have a lesson to learn to get to a better place, a better situation. Forgiveness was another thing, bringing peace into all my relationships in life, and also certainty, because I became and pursued the ability to forgive the unforgivable, which everybody should be on that pursuit. And then accountability, understanding the difference between liability, where everything is blame, shame, and justification, compared to accountability, where you're in control. Everything is because I attracted it to myself, and I'm always looking through gratitude and forgiveness for the lessons to put me in a better situation or make my situation better. And being able to utilize those values, I used to, say thank you and think that was the superpower. And what to start over, I thought it would be to use those 3 things: gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability. But the truth was, the key component of a comeback, the one thing I would tell myself at 18, 28, 38, 48, and I'll still be telling myself at 58, are the 2 words that sit on my nightstand. You would think they would be thank you, but they're not. It's radical humility. Radical humility takes into the context that we already are healthy, we're already wealthy, we're already happy, and it shifts our perspective to what are we doing to interfere with our health, our wealth, and our happiness. And radical humility tells us that we don't know what we don't know, don't take ourselves so seriously, and most importantly, ask for help. The easiest way to get back or to get to where you want to be is to find someone that's there and ask them for directions. I was a multimillionaire from the time I was 24 to 36, 12 years, and I never asked anyone for significant help. The way that I got back on my feet was to display radical humility, not take myself so seriously, not beat myself up, use gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability. But most importantly, I spent the majority of my time trying to find out who was sitting in the position I wanted to be in, and I asked them for directions.
That's awesome, and that again, like you said, it's a paradigm shift. When you look at it, you have to change it's that simple twist of the mindset, right? And when you look at it from that perspective and through that lens, we all have egos to a certain degree, and sometimes it's hard to get for some people to get past their own egos, right? To have that mental shift, to make that little simple adjustment. But some of these things, even some of the most simple things in life, can seem like they're the hardest things to actually do. And so I love that advice or that take that you had and that clarity that you had to get back to where you needed to get, and you continue to move forward. And I love the journey that you're on to, again, your life journey to get, 1 billion people happy, man. I mean, that in itself is something that you can wake up and just eat that for lunch, breakfast, dinner, and just something that is a nonstop, movement forward. You got to continuously move to get to where you want to be. And as entrepreneurs, I really think it's important to have those moments of clarity to make sure, one, you're doing what you need to do, and two, to really believe in the law of attraction, right? And really, really get your mindset to be, and to know you are where you need to be at that specific time. And if you don't feel like you're there, what are you going to do to get there? Because again, sitting there on the couch, eating potato chips or whatever it is that you like to do, if it's not getting you closer to your goals or where you want to be, you're not doing the right thing. So again, taking a step back and really looking at it from that perspective is very important.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you unpacked so many different things in there. If you think about it, my overall view of empowering don't limit me, over 1 billion people to be happy, not just 1 billion, to create a collective consciousness of happiness to change the world, is also related to what you were suggesting by saying, first of all, we're exactly where we need to be, which I call the law of gravity, right? We're exactly where we need to be. Then we need to angle to what we want. So we have to have a big vision, a goal. People ask me all the time, if, you're so zen and you allow things to happen, do you not have goals? No, I got big, audacious goals, like to empower over 1 billion people, but I'm angling towards it. I know that there's going to be lessons that are going to move me or angle me in a different direction to indicate I'm not as smart as I think I am. And that's called, to me, the law of Goya. So you start with the law of gravity, which says I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, grounded here on the earth with, gravity. Then I angle with the law of Goya, which means get off your ass. So you talked about, eating potato chips on the couch. I always say too many people are, sitting at home high on their mom's couch, sick and broke, dreaming about shit. And I'm making it happen because I utilize the law of Goya. And then if you use the law of gravity to be grateful for where you're at and know that you're at the right place at the perfect time, institute the law of Goya to get off your ass, to get what you want, then you can allow things to happen, knowing with faith. The law of attraction says this, that I have faith that with the law of gravity and the law of Goya, that if I do everything I can, pay attention to, give intention to, think, say, do, believe, even use my personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions, all aimed towards what I want, that the law of attraction will take place, that I have faith I'll end up somewhere better, that I don't understand the context in which I live, and therefore understanding infinity, understanding I can't fathom what the size and scope of the scale of my universe is, with radical humility. All I need is faith to say I'll end up somewhere better. So institute the law of gravity, the law of Goya, and the law of attraction. Know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Angle with everything you have to what you want, and have faith you'll end up somewhere better.
I love that sentiment about being exactly where you're supposed to be right now. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, including myself, we want to get to that next level. There's always something else that we want to do, and we forget to say, hey, I'm in a really great place right now. And if you don't do that, you become anxious. You start to question whether or not you're on the right path. You start to maybe change things in your pursuit that don't really need to be changed, or you're just changing the wrong things. And I think it really helps, or it really hinders you from getting to where you want to go. The first thing is Goya, right? But if you're already up and if you're already Oya, then, then it can still be difficult. There's still these things that hold you back. And the number one thing is probably ourselves. And so recognizing that we have what we need and that we're in a great place, and just to keep moving forward. I think that's an awesome sentiment.
Yeah. Sharon Lecter told me the other day, right? I never heard this one before. I always tell people, don't focus in on what you don't want. Definitely, because you'll get what you don't want. Don't focus in on what's missing in your life, because you'll get more of what's missing. And don't focus in what other people want for you, because you'll end up with other people want for you. And don't worry. And Sharon Lecter said, worrying is wishing for what you don't want. And, too many entrepreneurs worry about things, and all they're doing is wishing for what they don't want. So use the law of gravity, Goya, and attraction in order to effectuate focusing in on what you do want. Voting for what you do want is utilizing those three laws in order to effectuate it rapidly and accurately. Allow things to come in your life in uncommon time, right? And so when we do uncommon things, things come in uncommon time.
For sure. 100%. So David, I mean, when as entrepreneurs, a lot of us can be sales minded, and sales sometimes gets a bad reputation, right? That maybe it's a grimy thing, or that you have to trick people into giving you their money. So if done right, though, it's the opposite, right? So can you share your thoughts on that, and what do you think the most important part of the sales process actually is?
Sure. Well, coming from someone who spent years overselling, back-end selling, lying, manipulating, and cheating in order to hit his number and make huge commissions and do business, coming from someone who understands what that general perception is, I've created a 5 to Thrive system that utilizes 1, teaching people to stimulate interest, 2, to transition that interest, 3, to share a vision. And that vision is shared by articulating value to exceed what you're asking for. And then most importantly, 80% of the time is spent teaching people to utilize a go, no-go plan, to utilize the practice of managing and developing a vision, not to exceed expectations, just simply to manage and develop a vision. So number 5, it thrives. When you manage and develop a vision correctly, and I have some templates for people that can email me directly, david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com. I'll send them a go, no-go plan, change my life, because it allows me to thrive in all the relationships, especially the sales relationships I have, and teaching them each step of the way in its separate context in order to effectuate 3 things. It'll make you more productive. That means that you're providing more value. It'll make you more efficient, which gives you more at-bats. And then it gives you more statistical success, which gives you more hits. And all of those combined give you, 8 times the productivity and statistical success. And if you separate activity you get paid for from activity you don't get paid for, and you quit thinking of things in the resistance form of work, you can have 8 times the amount of productivity every day, 7 days a week, 56 times the activity than you would from a normal, 5-day work week. That's 11 days of productivity a week that you can get by utilizing this strategy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what do you say to somebody who they have, they already kind of have a vision for what they're looking for, but they're not really sure. They might already have the process in place. They might already be trying to maximize the efficiency of their day, but they're not able to scale outside of themselves. They're trying to do everything themselves. What do you say to somebody like that?
Well, I use a 3-stage scaling system in order to utilize the skills, knowledge, and desire that you have to scale within the context of other people. And so it's really simple, and more than happy once again to send people the staging document, david@dmeltzer.com, for free. But here's how it works. If you know what you're doing, you want someone to shadow you, then work with you, and then you supervise and shadow them. Then you bring someone on new that they can do the same thing to, then new that they can do the same thing through. And so utilizing that methodology, you can scale very quickly. Plus you get some quantitative analysis of how long it takes to get someone aligned and up to speed with the skills, the knowledge and desire that you need in order to effectuate the same success as if you did it yourself.
Awesome. Yeah. So David, from the highs to the lows, what has been the most difficult thing for you about being an entrepreneur?
The responsibility. My dad gave me a lesson a long time ago. If you don't like someone, wish upon them employees and overhead, and they'll think you're giving them a compliment. So, when I don't like someone, I always tell them, oh man, I hope your company grows. I hope you have thousands of employees and huge corporate headquarters. And they're like, oh man, Dave Meltzer is so nice. He's blessing me. No, I just cursed you, because any entrepreneur that cares about people, the most difficult, most challenging thing is the people that they care about or are responsible for, and two, the overhead that they carry. And so those are the two most difficult things to understand. Even in a successful business, the challenges that arise from people and overhead were unexpected and still are unexpected. Now I expect the unexpected when it comes to employees and overhead. Yeah.
So I think it's hard sometimes to figure out how to balance running lean and having the enough resources to do what you need to do. Right. I mean, you've got to have, like we just talked about scaling, getting outside of yourself and leveraging other people's time, to grow your business. But if you you see businesses all the time, they just explode, and you have these big, massive, headquarters, and you can tell they're spending a ton on rent or, buying the building, whatever. They've got hundreds or maybe thousands of employees, and it's nice that they're putting people to work. But what happens when they hit a speed bump, and you have to lose 10 people or 100 people or something like that. So yeah, to your point, I think it's probably one of the most difficult things, especially as you grow, to figure out how you bring people on the team, but make sure that they stay there as long as possible.
Yeah. And so the key to that, by the way, is to institute values. So I have 4 key values, as you know. I'll repeat them again: gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration. And then just very simple daily practices. I call them the what, the who, the how, the now, and the why. And so I utilize those practices within the context of the scaling mechanism to have people shadow those values, work with me on those values, and then allow me to supervise those values and daily practices so they can do the same. So we have instituted a mentorship program that all of the employees, managers, directors, executives of the company each have a mentee that they are either being shadowed by, working with, or supervising in order to elevate them to the next level so that they can do the same. And if you know those values and you have concrete, simple daily practices and allow people to make the decisions that they want to make within the context of the values you teach and the practices that you execute, you'll have a great consciousness, a great collective consciousness, and a streamlined, scalable business that's passionate, purposeful, and profitable.
Love that. So Dave, I mean, as we wrap up this episode, and I wish we could have you for a whole day, man, because you've packed so much gold for us into this one episode. If you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice, and it could have been something you've already touched on, what would that be?
For me, it's always the same, and it's going to sound simple, but I want everyone to think about it all day long. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. If you use kindness as your superpower and you use it in the context of what kindness can I do? What kindness can I think? What kindness can I, manifest for a future that's better for every person you meet, every phone call you make, DM, email, whatever situation it may be? Kindness is the closest to truth. And if you enjoy the consistent, persistent, without quit pursuit of your kindness or your truth, your universe will expand. You won't live in the world of not enough. You'll stop being a victim. Nothing will happen to you. You even will stop living in the optimistic world of just enough for me. You may be a multi-millionaire buying things you don't need to impress people you don't like. But if you use kindness as your North Star and do good deeds all day long, you'll live in a world of more than enough, of everything, and everything will come through you. You will receive so you can give. You will make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun.
Love that.
That's it. That's awesome. Yeah, that's such a great outlook.
And guys, you heard it here. Kindness is the way to go. So I think that's a wrap for this episode. And from the both of us, David, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your day and joining us and adding value to what we're doing on our podcast.
It's an incredible platform. I appreciate the opportunity to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. The way that I'm going to get there is to find 1,000 like Clint and Andrew that I know in their lifetime will empower 1,000 to empower 1,000 to be happy, to make money, help people, and have fun. So Clint and Andrew, thank you so much for allowing me to utilize That Entrepreneur Life as a platform. You guys are exceptional in what you do, and I'm sure you'll continue to pursue your potential to help more people. And just want to thank you for allowing me to be here.
Absolutely, David. Yeah. Let's go. Let's empower more people. That's what we're trying to do. We're so excited to have guests like you on the show. David, it's been a real pleasure to have you on. Thank you all so much for listening to That Entrepreneur Life. To learn more about what David is working on, check out dmeltzer.com. And if you like what you heard today, please subscribe to our podcast. And don't forget to download our free ebook about the success mindset at thatentrepreneurlife.com.
And if you're interested in having us do some mini masterclass episodes this year, please contact us through our episode or through our website. Thanks for continuing to support what we do as entrepreneurs, guys. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode of The Entrepreneur Life.
Thanks for listening to That Entrepreneur Life podcast. Be sure to visit thatentrepreneurlife.com to join the conversation, access our show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode as we continue to add value. Until next time.